Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Richard Fontaine. I'm the president of the Center for New American Security, and it's a real pleasure to welcome you all here tonight for tonight's address by Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta. Now is a particularly opportune time to hear from Secretary Panetta. With an election behind us and a fiscal cliff looming ahead, there are real and difficult choices to be made on the defense budget. With the United States rebalancing to Asia and reducing its presence in Afghanistan, a new strategic logic is coming into focus. And with efforts against al-Qaeda continuing apace, the scale and scope of that fight is a matter of new discussion. And that's why CNAS is honored to host the Secretary of Defense tonight.
As you all know, Secretary Leon Panetta is one of the most respected and experienced hands in Washington. His resume is what I would call legendary. Democratic congressman from the great state of California, my home state, chairman of the House Budget Committee back in the day where they actually passed budgets, director of the Office of Management and Budget, and then chief of staff to President Clinton in the White House, director of the Central Intelligence Agency, and now Secretary of Defense. So the question is, what in the world are you going to do next?
In many ways, I've said this. I say it to the troops when I meet with them. I say it to the groups that I speak to, but I believe it. This is an era of historic change. We are at a turning point after 10 years of war, over 10 years of war. We've ended the war in Iraq. NATO conducted a successful campaign to bring down Gaddafi in Libya. We are now embarked on what I think is a good campaign plan to allow us to draw down in Afghanistan. And we have the continuing effort against al-Qaeda. And as we achieve some of those important goals, the United States is moving towards, as I said, the end of the longest period of sustained armed conflict in the nation's history. And I also would like to take a moment to express my pride in the men and women in uniform who have fought throughout that period, putting their lives on the line in order to protect this country. Were it not for their sacrifices, were it not for their willingness to do that, we would not be able to accomplish what we have. And thank God that they are there. So I often say, the one thing I found out when I came from the CIA to the Defense Department is I have a hell of a lot of great toys at the Defense Department. I have great weapons, I've got great ships, I've got great planes, I've got great technologies, but none of that would be worth anything without the good men and women in uniform that serve this country and dedicate their lives to protecting this country. That is the real strength of the United States of America. As we transition into this new era, we will have to look at some very important priorities that will take on a greater urgency, particularly as we look at the second term of this administration and look at what are the challenges that we are going to be confronting. This is not like periods in the past where we come out of a period of war and the threats kind of diminish. And then everybody winds up cutting the hell out of the defense budget. This is a period where even as we come out of these 10 years of war, we are confronting some major issues and major threats in the world. We still are involved in a war on terrorism. We are still at war in Afghanistan, even as we try to draw down in that war. We are in the process of trying to implement the department's defense strategy at the same time that we are trying to meet our fiscal responsibilities. We are in a period where obviously the budget situation in this country, the huge deficits that we're facing, the huge debt that's confronting this country, are limiting resources and will continue to limit resources. I do not believe, having worked on budgets and worked at the Defense Department, I do not believe that we have to choose between our national security and our fiscal security.